Welcome to day 24 of Diddy's trial. We are at the start of week six, which means we should be wrapping all of this up soon. This trial was said to last 8 weeks. We are at week six. The prosecution, I believe, will be wrapping up their case this week, as maybe even as early as Wednesday. The prosecution might be wrapping up their case. And then the defense will put on their case, and it's going to be very interesting to see who they will be calling as witnesses. That's going to be very interesting. And then it'll be turned over to the jury. So we are getting closer. A couple of big things that happened over the weekend. The defense team submitted something to the judge to reconsider letting go one of the jurors. There's been a juror that has been removed, and an alternate would be put in his place. And this juror was removed because they said once he said he lived in the Bronx, then it was something about him saying he lived in New Jersey. So anyway, I guess the prosecution was saying that he was trying too hard to try to be on the jury, wondering if there's some kind of deception there. The defense is saying that wasn't the case. They're misconstruing what the real situation is. They feel like it's also a race situation because this juror is actually one of two black men on the jury. So they argued about that on Friday with the judge. The judge decided to remove the juror. Over the weekend, the defense team submitted a request for the judge to reconsider. This morning, the judge ruled that that juror would be removed, and so that's one of the two black male jurors on this case. So that juror has been removed. He will be replaced with a 57-year-old white male, I think is what they put in the press. And I know this guy who is replacing this juror has a master's degree in something, but that's the situation there. There's also some talk this morning about there's some issue with another juror that might also be in jeopardy of being removed. They said it's totally, though, unrelated to the first juror who was removed. So I don't know. We'll see what's going on with that. Today, though, we are going to hear from Brendan Paul. And if you remember Brendan Paul, he got arrested, I want to say in 2024, when he was arrested and charged with like drug trafficking, and supposedly he's a drug mule for Diddy. So I'm going to show you a quick clip of his arrest just to kind of refresh your memory on who Brendan Paul was. Brendan Paul is also an ex-Syracuse basketball player. From what I understand, when he was arrested, he didn't stay in custody long. And the thought was he always had made a deal with the government to be a supportive of their case with the trafficking case against Diddy. And so we're going to hear from him today. We're also going to hear from a couple of summary witnesses, and these summary witnesses work for the government. They are in charge of kind of explaining like information charts to the jury. So these folks, they may go through a ton of text messages, audio messages, video. They may go through a whole lot of evidence. They summarize it in charts to make it more understanding. And this is evidence that may not have been presented in the actual trial, but is still presented to the jury just so that they can see what was admitted, even though if it's not like presented in the actual trial. So I know we'll have some of that today. Based on what I've seen, those summary witnesses are testifying first before we get to Brendan. And I don't think Brendan hit the witness stand before they went to lunch. So, as we do it over here, we always start way later than the trial because we want to give them time. We want to give them time to take all the breaks they need to take, all the sidebars they need to take. So by the time we kind of tune into the trial, we could kind of chop, go through whatever's going on. So let's get into it. I'm going to share with you all now the video of Brendan Paul's arrest. And this was a news story when it happened. And then we'll jump right into the testimony. So let me just share this video with you all just to kind of remind you of who Brendan Paul is. And then, like I said, we'll jump into today's testimony. All right, just 1 second.
Tonight, we're getting our first look at the arrest of a former SU basketball walk-on player, Brendan Paul, who's part, police say, of a sex trafficking investigation of rap mogul Sean P. Diddy Combs. Paul is accused in court documents of being Combs' drug mule. He was arrested Monday, already out of jail, though, having posted bail. He played basketball for the Orange in the 2019-2020 season. Combs facing no charges right now, but federal agents have seized electronics from his homes in both California and in Florida.
So if you saw there, that was the arrest of Brendan Paul. That was also in March 25th, 2024. So that's just a quick refresher of who Brendan Paul is. And we will be hearing from Brendan today. So let's go ahead and jump into the testimony, and I'm going to pop up on our screen the live stream from P. Diddy trial updates that's on X. We will, as necessary, go back and forth between this page and also the CNN updates, just because, it gives us a little bit more context sometimes. So let's go to the testimony screen here, and we can get started. All right. Hope you guys are having a good Monday today. It's a nice day here where I am. Nice, warm, no rain finally, because it's been raining like non-stop. All right, let's jump into the testimony. So the prosecution is calling Miss Sankar. What was your role in relation to this case? She said, I worked on 2 summary charts. I was tasked with verifying their accuracy. Can you explain the source documents those charts are based on? She said they're drawn from hundreds of pages of underlying records. Who appears in the messages shown in the chart? She said Christina Corum, also KK. Again, where's KK, y'all? Where is KK? I believe KK, if KK doesn't make an appearance for the prosecution, I am going to believe that she will be charged as a co-conspirator. And whose phone number is listed here? The Sankar says that belongs to Brendan Paul. Prosecutor, how did Ms. Corum respond to Mr. Lopez regarding the escort? She replied with 4 laughing emojis and asked, how long is he going to stay awake? This item dated January 30th, 2023. Is it an audio recording? Sankar said, yes, it is. Ms. Foster, please play the first minute and 10 seconds of the clip. Audio plays. It's a female voice that says, 2 things were weird. The only person who knew was you. Someone found an iPad. Voice B said, yes. What paralegal Inanya Sankar is doing is to validate summary charts containing text, calls, and images which haven't been presented to the jury. They are, though, part of the official evidence. What does Christina Corum say in this message? Sankar says, she says he's going to the 4 Seasons and wants you to bring Gatorade and chicken noodle soup. Oh, Diddy. I need to see KK, though, in this trial, for real. Prosecutor said, let's read through these messages. I'll read for Dave Shirley, and you will read for Christina Corum's responses. The prosecutor reads as Dave Shirley. Rock riding with him, and Sankar is reading as KK. No to Rock. Can you deliver $4,000 in cash from Rock to the hotel? And then Dave says, sure. Christina Corum said, just a heads up, he's planning to do a Wild King tonight. A Wild King tonight. Oh, Lord. Prosecutor says, reads as Dave Shirley, I forgot to grab the cash. Just hand it to Fahim just in case. What message did the hotel send to Miss Karam? Sankar said, hotel called, Paul is coming up. Does Paul show up in other parts of the chart? She said, yes. Let's turn off the exhibit monitors for the public and the press. Inform me once the screens are off. So what are they about to show? Prosecutor said, please read the following exchange between Jane and Miss Coram. And Sankar reads as KK. Can you ask them to bring up 15 bath towels? Jane, he usually brings between $5,000 and $10,000. They're expecting the guests to check out of the presidential suite by 1 p.m. Sankar again reading as KK. We're heading out. Prosecutor, what are these messages concerning? They were arranging a flight for Jane. And this one, these are flight details sent from Jessica Ruiz to KK for Arthur Jr. and Paul. Where's KK, y'all? We need to see KK. What about these messages? Sankar said it's a request to pick up cash for Guido at Mapleton. And now the prosecutor reads again as Jane, yes. Prosecutor says, what text does Christina Coram send to Sean? She writes, Guido's outside. Combs replies with an audio message. Please play the audio. The audio plays and then Combs' voice, it's in a hoarse voice, says, about Guido. Take care of it, please. Now he's sick, ordering Gatorade, chicken noodle soup, and sex workers. Okay. Prosecutor, and how does KK respond? She replies, done. Do some of these messages involve Cassie Ventura? She said, yes, they do. Let's look at page 5, May 2nd, 2017. What are these messages? Sankar, and again, Sankar works for the government. She's almost like a paralegal who's accountable for like putting together tons and tons of information in the charts. All of it is information that may not have been presented to the jury, but it is information that is a part of the evidence for the trial. All right. So Sankar said there are texts between Cassie Ventura and KK. And prosecutor reads as Ventura. What the F? Are you okay? KK says. No one deserves to be dragged by their hair, Cassie says. Prosecutor, let's look at rows 87 to 92. Messages between Cassie and KK from April 20th, 2018. The prosecutor reads as Cassie. I just can't do this anymore. KK, I'm here for you. Cassie, I'm feeling down, but I don't want to mess things up. Sankar reads as KK. Don't let it throw you off track. It's not worth it. Throw you off. Don't let it throw you off track. KK, where KK should be sitting right beside Diddy right now. Where is KK? Prosecutor, let's move on to Jane's messages. You'll read her parts. So now she's reading as Jane. We had a fight. I'm skipping hotel night, but I'll still bring him a cake. What the fuck are y'all talking about right now? Prosecutor, what's the date on this message? Sankar says November 16th, 2023. Prosecutor, and what are these next items? Audio recordings dated November 19th, 2023. Go ahead and play the recording. The audio plays, phone rings, and Sean Combs' voice is heard. Combs said, we can't really talk on this line. You know what I mean? I reached out. I called. My love is real. No doubt about that. It was just some freaky stuff I thought we both liked. If you thought you shouldn't talk on that line, Diddy, why are you talking on that line? In the audio, Jane's voice shakes. I don't know. It's just the way it happened, word for word. It's insane. It feels twisted. But like, and then the audio cuts off. Play the next clip. Combs' voice. I really need your friendship right now. Don't send any texts. Don't send any texts. Okay, let's see what happens next. Again, this is Diddy on the audio. I just needed to say I really need your friendship. Baby, I'm about to go see my mom. You feel me? Please keep me in your prayers. Jane said, okay. And what's this 3 days? What's this 3 days later? KK writes, we all know what your kryptonite is. The prosecutor reads now as Diddy. Please have Robin double check that her rent is taken care of. Robin said her rent has already been paid. And what's this next item? It's a photo discovered on KK's phone dated December 28th, 2023. Sandcar said the image shows a cell phone screen with a message that says, I lost work opportunities. Sandcar now reads as Jane. You broke me. You asked what I needed to heal, and now you're angry with me. Who is this conversation between? It's from Jane to KK. Wow. Wow. Now I remember from past testimony, Diddy had a um very bad response to when he asked when he asked Jane pretty much how much I got to pay you for your years of suffering. I'm paraphrasing here. And she said she gave him a number, I think like upwards of $400,000. And then he called her like an opportunist and all this kind of stuff. And needless to say, I don't think he ever cut that check. So the prosecutor assistant again reads as Jane. He said he'd send the recordings through my baby's father. He'd send the recordings to my baby father. I'm traumatized. He kept asking me again and again who I'm seeing. He said he's going to send the S tapes to my child's father. I'm drugged in them. What he's done to me is beyond painful. Oh, she playing her part now. Jane is playing because this, now keep in mind, all this is happening after Cassie's lawsuit and after Diddy settled Cassie's lawsuit. So just keep that in mind because Jane's whole tone, her whole way of talking with Diddy changes after that. You draw your own conclusion as to why that might be. Prosecutor said, how does Miss KK respond? Ask KK, I haven't talked to him. In these next images, photos of a phone screen, can you read what they say? Sandcar again, reading as Jane. You've effed everything up. You've won. What are we looking at here? Video clips recovered from KK's device. Please play the audio. Please play the video. Audio plays. Woman's voice says, like $1,000. Prosecutor, and what's shown in the accompanying image? It appears to be a long manicured fingernail. Oh, KK, you going down, girl. You going down. What does Miss KK write in this message? And again, the prosecutor assistant reads as KK. This is what KK wrote in the message. They're just hanging out at his place, heading out to shop like King Night vibe or Gucci bag mood. LOL. Prosecutor, Your Honor, this may be a good point to pause. The judge said, all right, we'll take a break here. So good, let's keep going and see what's going on. The jury is shown a summary chart of messages, which includes messages between Combs, Mia, and D-Rock. Prosecutor, let me direct your attention to a message from November 19th, 2023. What did D-Rock write to Mr. Combs? He texted, need to hear your voice, bro. Love you. And how did Mr. Combs respond? He replied, thank you for checking on me. I really appreciate you. Love you. Prosecutor then reads as Diddy, I'll call you back. I'm talking to the kids. Sandcar then reads as D-Rock to Mia, where are you? Mia said, Virginia Beach. D-Rock then says, Sandcar said, D-Rock then texts Mia's number to Mr. Combs. As Mia to D-Rock, I didn't have my phone. I was scuba diving. Now, Mia testified about this. Mia testified about after all the stuff with Cassie popped off, how D-Rock was trying to get in touch with her and trying to encourage her to talk with Diddy because Diddy wanted to talk with her. And this is some of the stuff what the government was saying that Diddy early on was trying to tamper with people who could be witnesses in this case. So he's trying to get a hold of Mia so he can kind of, figure out where she is, make sure that he could try to convince her to say whatever in order not to add more damage to what's already going on with him. So that's what's going on here. This is what Mia has already testified to. So the prosecutor reads again as Mia, it's smart to stay in your bubble. I'm on an island off the coast of Honduras. Then D-Rock said, I'd love to hear more about Honduras. Let me know how I can send you something. No, bruh. Mia said, I never asked for anything. And D-Rock said, I'm allowed to send my sister a gift. Miss Sankar, did you have any other involvement in this case beyond what you've described? She said, no, I did not. No further questions, Your Honor. So the judge then asked Garagos if she has any questions. Garagos says yes. Garagos is on the defense side. Garagos said, Miss Sankar, I'd like to direct your attention to a specific message from Damian Butler to Mr. Combs. Let's pull up the exhibit in line 363. This message was sent days before the filing, correct? Say, yes, that's correct. And Mr. Butler tells Mia that Mr. Combs wants to speak with her. Yes, he also assures her that Mr. Combs doesn't want anything from her, right? She said, yes, that's what the message says. The defense attorney said, now let's look at the message Mr. Combs sends Mia on February 7, 2024. I'll read it out loud. Hey, I don't want to be blowing up your phone. Just needed to talk to you for 10 minutes. Just need my memory jogged on some things. You were my right hand for years. Okay, so again, they're trying to suggest that Diddy was reaching out to Mia, but he wasn't trying to do anything nefarious. That's what they're suggesting from the defense side. So the defense attorney said, so I just speak to you to remember who was even around me, and it would be good to hear your voice. But if you don't want to, all good. Just let me know. Love, hope you're well. Does this match the exhibit? Sankar says, yes, it does. Then the defense attorney says, after that message, D-Rock informs Combs that Mia's phone rings as if she's out of the country, correct? Yes. And to be clear, you've seen no record suggesting that he called Mia again after that. She said, yes, there are no further records of contact. That might be a good thing for Diddy, maybe. Defense attorney then says, Ms. Sankar, I'd like to turn your attention to a message exchange between Christina Coram and someone identified as Jane around Valentine's Day 2022. Sankar said yes. In this exchange, Jane expresses excitement, doesn't she? And the prosecutor assistant says she does. Defense attorney said specifically, she writes, I'm excited to surprise him, correct? She said, that's right. And she's referring to Sean Combs. Sankar says yes. After that message, Jane sends Miss Karan some photos. She said, yes, she sends images. And what do those photos show? A hotel room decorated with rose petals and heart-shaped balloons. So Jane was preparing a romantic surprise for Mr. Combs at the time. Sankar said that's what the messages and photos suggest. Defense attorney said, now, Ms. Sankar, let's look at a text exchange from February 25th, 2023 between Christina Coram and Jane. Sankar says, okay. In these messages, Miss Coram reaches out to Jane twice, asking her to call, correct? Yes, she asks Jane to call her. And Coram also says that Mr. Combs is pushing her to finalize plans. She said, that's right. Now, how does Jane respond? Jane says, my answer to him is no, and it is still no. Did Coram acknowledge that? She did. She said she would let him know. And she told Jane to keep her posted if anything changes. Yes, that's what she wrote. The defense attorney then said, Ms. Sankar, let's now turn to a few messages from Fahim Muhammad, Mr. Combs' head of security. Sankar says, okay. These were messages sent to Sean Combs, Christina Coram, and Combs' account manager, correct? She said, yes, that's right. In them, Mr. Muhammad is asking for approval for a disbursement. Yes, from an account labeled PD Personal. And the funds were intended to cover various expenses. Sankar says correct. He was requesting authorization for several payments. Let's turn to a message exchange between Sean Combs and his chief of staff, KK, from November 2023. Can you read what Miss KK wrote? If you cannot be honest with me, this doesn't work. We all know what your kryptonite is and where you don't make the best choices. Did she indicate how she was feeling? Sankar said she did. She said she felt like he was lying and that it wasn't sitting well with her. And how did Mr. Combs respond? He said, come take my phone. Did Miss Coram respond to that? Yes, she said, it's not about your phone. If you're starting to lie, that will break me. Please read the messages from Nat Moore. Sankar then reads as Nat Moore. The article could have been worse. They're calling it a breakup fight. Your Honor, may I briefly confer with Prosecutor Foster? The judge says yes. Okay, let's see where we ended up after that. I think the defense actually is doing a pretty good job of cross examining the prosecutor's paralegal because I think she's showing that again that Diddy from the defense is what the defense is doing is showing that Diddy was not strong arming anybody. That's what they're doing by the messages they're having her read. Defense attorney said, I'd like the public and press screens to be turned off for this next part. We're looking at a message from November 22nd, 2023 between Jane and KK, correct? She said, that's correct. Jane wrote, I'm not doing any more hard partying. Then she mentioned something about wasting 3 years, right? Sankar said, yes. And here's a message from KK to Perez asking, how does he look? Perez responds, shockingly good, better than before, correct? That's right. Defense attorney said, no further questions. And now Sankar is off the stand. Okay, so that was the first summary witness for the prosecution. So now we have Delisa Penland, another summary witness who takes the stand. Okay, let's see if this is more of the same. I may try to go even more quickly through this. So hopefully we can get to Breland if he's actually going to make it to the stand today. Okay, so Penland is a special agent with the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York. She will be reviewing charts and data to verify their accuracy. Some charts presented focus on certain meetings. One highlights a meeting at a hotel in London involving Combs, Cassie, and Jules Theodore. It also includes a list of flights taken by the individuals involved, including Jules and Cassie. Okay, the prosecutor says, Ms. Penland, regarding the chart, the defense objects. Well, how? Why? What? Ms. Johnson, may you proceed? Okay, Ms. Penland, when you say someone attended the meeting, are you basing that on available records rather than video evidence? Who are the participants in this chart? Penland says, Jules and Sean Combs. Please read Jules' message aloud. I'm available Friday through Sunday, whatever flights work. Which one? Friday at 4 is what Diddy said in response. Where were the flights between Los Angeles and JFK in New York? Did document retention policies affect your ability to retrieve the records? She said yes. I wasn't able to obtain those records due to retention limitations. So then they went on a break. Okay, after the break, Penland will be on the stand for about 2 hours. What? And might return tomorrow. Next will be Brendan Paul. What? Are we not getting to Brendan Paul today? All right. So let's go back. So Penland is back on the stand, and the jury's also in. So the judge said, Ms. Johnson, you may proceed. Penland, did you review American Express records as part of your analysis? She said, I did. This particular charge was for a flight from Miami booked for Cassie Cassandra Ventura. And here's a charge from the London hotel billed to that same American Express account. Whose American Express account was that? Penland said it belonged to Sean Combs. The payment was made using an account at Signature Bank. Can you read this message aloud? Penland says, it's the Trump in Columbus Circle. I'm heading there now. Can you contact the front desk and get the porn channel unlocked? Oh my God. And what does Miss Ventura respond? She responds, I just called them. Ms. Penland, who are the individuals in these communications? She said Cassandra Ventura and some identified as New York Punish, also known as Sheree Hayes. And what are they discussing? Penland, they are talking about the cost. And in this next part, they are referencing videos. Your Honor, may we have the public and press screen turned off? Okay, so that's done. Let's see where this goes next. Okay, where did we go? Who are the individuals in these communications? Cassie been someone identified as New York Punish. That might be the Punisher. And what are they discussing? What are they discussing? They're talking about the cost, and in this next part, they're referencing videos. Your Honor, may we have the public and press screen turned off? Okay, the request is approved. All right, where are we now? Y'all, this is, I don't know. I mean, so far, and it doesn't seem like we might not even get to Brendan today, but it's two summary witnesses, both for the government side of this case, presenting just a lot of different information, be it text messages, audio recordings, and basically just sharing this information with the jury. And from what I understand, these witnesses are used like to present when there's a ton of information that may not all be presented in the trial by the primary lawyers, but these summary witnesses from the government can testify to other information that has been deemed admissible in the trial, even if it hasn't been presented by the primary lawyers to the jury. So that's what these summary witnesses are doing right now. And I want them to hurry up because I want to get to the main person. I want to get to the guy. I want to get to him. See what he has to say about this, him being a drug mule and all of that, allegedly. So we're waiting right now to kind of get more updates from them. Meanwhile, while we're waiting for an update to the thread, what we can do is go over to let's see, CNN, and check out what their update is. So hold on one second while I do that. Just 1 second, y'all. I probably should have started this stream at the end of the trial, and I would have if I had known they were going to start with these summary witnesses first. I definitely would have done that. All right, so I am sharing this screen right now with the CNN update while we wait on the X thread to be updated. So just 1 second. Let me go down a little bit here. Okay. The jury sees more records tied to purported 2009 meeting between Combs, Ventura, and an escort. With Special Agent Delisa Penland on the stand as a summary witness, the jury saw more records to support a purported December 2009 meeting between Sean Diddy Combs, Cassie Ventura, and an escort named Jules at the London Hotel in New York City. The records included those for flights and hotels for that weekend that were paid for with Combs' American Express card. The records showed that Combs paid for flights for Ventura and Jules and a room at the hotel. The jury was shown a travel invoice sent to a Bad Boy Entertainment. See, I think that's the part where they're trying to say, okay, you see, he's using like his business funds, his business accounts in order to pay for this activity. And to me, they are still swinging for the fences in order for us to say, oh, well, there it is. There's a criminal enterprise. That proves RICO. I think that's still a far away from that. But anyway, that's what they're trying to do. So the jury was shown a travel invoice sent to Bad Boy Entertainment for a flight for Cassie Ventura from LA to New York City on October 10th, 2012. And the special agent who read some messages between Cassie and Diddy on October 13th, 2012. You ready for the night? Combs asked her. Ventura responded, yes, but she needed to get something. Diddy says, man, you had all day. I gotta, maybe I should stop laughing at this. I can't though, y'all, because it's so ridiculous. As serious as it is, so much of it, it's just so ridiculous. Okay, so Diddy said, you ready for the night? Cassie said, yes, but she needed to get something. And he said, man, you had all day. It's always something, Combs wrote back in the messages. The jury then saw messages Cassie sent separately to two men discussing times to meet and giving them information for a hotel room in New York. The invoice for that hotel room was reserved under the name Janet Clark. Now that's interesting. And paid in cash. One of the men texted Cassie in the early morning hours of October 14th, indicating he was in another room. The jury also saw the invoice for that room, which was reserved under the name Frank Black. As we all know by now, Frank Black is Diddy's alias, one of them, and paid for both in cash with an Amex card. Several videos recorded on October 14th were recovered from one of Cassie's devices. The jury watched some of these videos, but the public was not able to see them. Let's look at the latest update, and then we'll go back to the X thread to see if we have more updates from inside the courtroom. The jury saw text message exchanges of Sean Diddy Combs and Cassie Ventura setting up a freak off with 4 men in January of 2013 to celebrate Christmas. I had to take a sip of my drink on that one. These people. Okay. The jury saw text message exchanges of Sean Diddy Combs and Cassie setting up a freak off with 4 men in January 2013 to celebrate Christmas. Combs texted Ventura, want to celebrate Christmas and have a freak off tomorrow or Friday? Cassie texted with the man who runs an escort service to arrange for one escort and personally texted with others to set up staggered arrival times on January 11th and January 12th, 2013. One of the escorts texted Cassie, "Hello, Star. This is Santiago. I hope we can do another voyeur encounter again. And I really want to do this again with you guys." Just nasty. Just nasty. That's, this to me, one of the most difficult thing in the beginning was that we went into this trial seeing the video with the domestic violence, and I'm like, okay, cool, bet he's guilty of that. He's not being charged for that in this case, but he's guilty of that. I mean, I don't know how that's even debatable. But when it came down to these freak offs, whether it's with Cassie or whether it's with Jane, I am telling you right now, I am very much still with Jane. I feel like Jane was 100% on board. I did not see Jane as a victim based off of her testimony and the messages shared. I did not see her as a victim in the freak off situation at all. She was down with it. She agreed to it, whether she agreed to it for $10,000 a month or $10 for designer bags and shoes and trips, whatever her reason was for agreeing to it, based off of her testimony that she gave over those 4 to 5 days or 4.5 days and the messages that they shared, she was down with it. Cassie, a lot of what I saw for Cassie, I think Cassie was down with it. Now the thing with Cassie that gets a little tricky is that elevator video that we all saw, the hotel video that we all saw, a freak off was actually going on that day. And so when she was trying to leave and he did what he did, like committed the domestic violence and tried to drag her back, that to me is in the favor of the prosecution, because it looks like you are not only committing domestic violence, but you are not allowing her to leave a freak off situation. So that to me definitely does not go well for Diddy. But does that mean in all of the instances where the freak off took place, she was against it? No. But we also understand that she could be against it one time, and if he made her do it against her will, and there's evidence to support that, or if the jury believes that, that's all it takes. It's almost like paternity court when those people get on there and say, well, that he can't be the baby daddy because I only slept with him once. And the judge always tells them, it only takes one time. It doesn't have to take. Same thing applies here. But this freak off situation, a lot of these people were down with it. Okay, so the jury was dismissed for the day. So that's court ended early. And they did not get the Breland today. So let me go back over real quick so you all can go on with your Monday. Please like the video and leave a comment. And if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to the channel. Appreciate your support. So what I'm going to do right now is just quickly go back over to the X feed and see if there's anything there for us to see as far as the testimony that was given. And if not, this may be an early end of streaming today. And actually, y'all, that's kind of good for us because these summary witnesses, quite frankly, are kind of boring. They're kind of boring. Okay, so where we left off? We left off here. Let's see if she gave any other updates since then. All right. So Penman, what was the date of the flight and the invoice shown to the jury? October 10th, 2012. A flight booked for Cassie from Los Angeles to New York City, billed to Bad Boy Entertainment. Let's move to the messages between Cassie and Diddy from October 13th. Can you read them? Combs said, "You ready for the night?" She said, "Yes, but I need to get something." He said, "Man, you had all day." We just read this on the CNN update as well. All day, it's always something. The jury is shown messages Cassie sent separately to two men discussing times to meet and giving them information for a hotel room in New York. Was anything notable about that hotel booking? Penley said yes. The room was reserved under the name Janet Clark and paid for in cash. And there was another room, prosecutor asked. Penley said yes. Early in the morning on October 14th, one of the men texted Cassie that he was in a different room. That second room was booked under the name Frank Black and was paid for using both cash and an American Express card. Okay, so some videos are shown to the jury, but not to the public. Let's see if we got anything else after that. And nothing else right now into that. And I think, y'all, based off of how we know this is going to end, I don't think we even have to. I did want to see that part about the Christmas thing, though. Hold on 1 second. Prostitution is a crime in New York State, which means that you can face severe penalties for being convicted of this sex crime. Even if you are not the one engaging in the sexual act, you could still be charged with prostitution if you were aware that it was going to take place and did nothing to stop it. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, okay? I still don't see RICO at all, but I do see other things that I feel like they've given enough evidence to convict Diddy on. The prostitution charges, to me, that's a slam dunk. He's guilty of that for sure. The situation with the kidnapping and Capricorn Clark, I personally believe Capricorn Clark. If the jury believes Capricorn Clark, he's going to be found guilty on that kidnapping charge. The arson charge, I don't think they really proved that Diddy did the arson, but I could see, based on what was going on with Kid Cudi, how a lot of people will be like, well, that's not hard for me to kind of connect these dots and say that Diddy more than likely had something to do with it. But to me, in order to convict him, you need more than that. But so put a question mark on that. But as far as the kidnapping, as far as the prostitution, especially the prostitution charge, they got him on that. They got him on that hands down. Okay. As far as trafficking, I don't really see it. I don't really see it. And I mean, I don't see enough evidence presented for me to say that he's guilty of trafficking, unless they're going to try to say, well, how could you say? Because see, you can't say that the sex workers who were flown across different states that they were sex trafficked, because where's the force and where's the coercion? There's no force or coercion with the sex workers, right? So, but looking at the sex workers as far as the prostitution charges, then that applies. So I can see that. So again, I still don't see like the RICO thing. I don't see that at all. But I do see that he can very, very easily be found guilty of several of the other charges by the jury. So, my position has been, and it has not changed, that Diddy is definitely going to go to prison. And the only question to me has always been, especially as we started getting into, okay, what is your evidence? Is like which charges he'll be convicted on and for how long. Now, if he has a jury that is walking away from all of this testimony and they're just thinking he's this horrible, deplorable monster and we're just going to convict him on everything, he's cooked. He's cooked. He's lost a juror today Well, last Friday, he lost a juror. He was one of two black male jurors. There's some issue right now with some other juror. We don't know which juror that is, but I don't know. They say it's unrelated to the issue with the first juror who's now been dismissed and replaced with an alternate. So we'll see how that goes. So I don't know. But and having said all of that, you never know what a jury will do. You never know. And I always stick to my case of reference when I make that statement is Casey Anthony. Some of you may not be old enough to remember Casey Anthony, but Casey Anthony was charged with unaliving her daughter. And you could not have told me, and me and my mother watched that trial together. You could not have told me that Casey Anthony was not going to jail. I just knew she would be found guilty. No ifs, ands, buts about it. And that jury came back not guilty. So I guess for all of us, no matter what we think, no matter what we believe should happen, we should always remember that there really is no predicting what a jury might do. So, but we will know soon enough because again, we are in week 6 of an 8-week trial. So this is coming to the end. Very much so coming to the end. So I just wanted to see if we had any other update. Can you send? Okay, I think we covered this. We're not seeing the footage on our end. Let's start the playback from 10:30 to 11-minute mark. Thank you. Okay, blah blah blah. I'll read Mr. Combs' messages. Please read Cassie's. The prosecutor is reading his as Combs. You feeling horny? Want to have a little fun? Cassie said, should I call Jules? Can you send the hotel details? I'm about to smoke. What are you up to? Then Diddy said, what's going on? See this is what I'm saying. Now, some people will have us say, but yeah, if she's doing that, it's probably because she feels threatened. She feels, y'all. Let me continue. Then again, they're reading the message as if they're Cassie. I asked him to drive around. We'll let him know when we're ready for him to come up. And Diddy said, I'm a bit more excited than last time. Dress casually. And can you bring baby oil? Casual is fine, but no baby oil. Oh boy, y'all. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy. Oh boy. Boy, oh boy. I just, this is where we are though. This is where we are. Okay. And I'm saying boy, oh boy, just from the perspective of all the money in the world, which I guess made this person feel like, no matter how extreme my vices are, they're my vices. I can afford them. I'm a billionaire. I'm into some things. I can afford to be into some things. And now look at what position you're in. And I'm gonna tell you somebody else who might end up coming up on a case one day, Kanye. Because if it's true that Kanye might be the other rapper that Jane was talking about, who was a part of this lifestyle, don't y'all know that woman that he's been walking around with, his wife, who always looks spaced out, drugged out, he's walking around with her and having her exposing herself and almost naked clothing and all of that foolishness. Don't y'all know that woman with Kanye can very easily accuse him one day of the same things that Diddy's being accused of? That she was drugged, she was coerced, she was forced. He had her engaging in these things because the speculation is that it was Kanye. We have no evidence, but the speculation is that it might be Kanye and his wife who were involved at the party in Las Vegas that Jane testified about. So he may very well end up in this. And I know a lot of us, we're not going to cry anything over Kanye if he found himself in this situation, But it's just one of those things again where it's kind of like y'all have so much money and everything else at your exposure. And what are you fucking bored? What are you bored? How do you end up here? How do you end up here? Okay. Rein it in, Sandy. Rein it in. All right. Let's go back to where we are because I think we have an update. So Diddy says, I'm a bit more excited than last time. Dress casually and can you bring baby oil? Cassie said, casual is fine, but no baby oil. Prosecutor asked Johnny, says, on my way to the hotel. Cassie said, would you mind driving around until I say when to come up? And then the prosecutor says, we could break here and the jurors may leave for the day. Okay. So that is the end of the testimony today. And we did not get to see who we were expecting to see. We expected to see the alleged drug mule today. So hopefully these people, these summary witnesses, will kind of wrap up their testimony kind of early tomorrow, hopefully, so that we could get to the person that we're waiting on. Let me see. I'm reading a CNN update. Let me click over right quick so y'all can also see that. Oh, this went by really fast. It's good, y'all. It's good because I'm ready to let's get to the meat. Okay. Well, maybe I shouldn't say that in this trial. let's get to the key witnesses, please. Because this almost feels administrative, what they did today. All right, so let me just share the screen with y'all so y'all can see where I am on the CNN page. All right, so here we are. The defense asked about what jury was told about the dismissed juror. After the juror was let go for the day, defense attorney Alexandria Shapiro asked the judge what was said to the other jurors about juror number 6, whom the judge dismissed. Said he'd find out and tell the attorneys tomorrow morning. Okay. The jury has been dismissed. All right. I think the last thing we read over here was about the Santiago thing. The jury saw messages Cassie sent to a man called Dave, asking him to come to a hotel room around 1 a.m. Dave texted her, thanks, LOL. Around 8 a.m. the following day, shortly before 8 a.m., Cassie texted another man, Daniel, asking him to wait a few more minutes. On October 22nd, 2013, Cassie texted Combs, you didn't film anything on your phone, right? And Combs said, no way. So Cassie, just like Jane, had many nights where they were like rolling in 1, 2, 3, 4 men. Jane testified that at one point she wanted to surprise Diddy for Valentine's Day, so she had 2 men at once. What's that song? What people do for money. Yeah, that's what I'm feeling right now. All right, let's see. One more check on the X feed before we get out of here for today. Yeah, I think we're good. All right, y'all, that is a wrap. That might be the shortest live stream we've had for this whole trial. So thank you all so much for stopping by the channel, checking me out, giving me a chance. I appreciate it. Please like the video, drop a comment. If you are not a subscriber, please subscribe to the channel. There's a whole lot of content on the channel and we're growing every day. We're trying as well to get better and better at what we're doing as far as being a content creator. So we definitely appreciate your support and we appreciate your feedback. And until the next time, bye y'all.